Hello everyone and welcome to the Daddy Brigade Podcast. I'm Keith, the Bearded Tank.
And I'm Zach, the Tactical Gnome.
And this week we're going to be continuing from last week on bugging in and bugging out. Last week we focused on bugging in. This week we're going to focus more on bugging out. Just to sum up a little bit, bugging out when you need to get out of Dodge. There are certain things you want to have. When you're bugging in, there's a different set of things you want to have on hand. Because depending on each situation. Bugging out. Now, everybody has probably heard bug out bag.
I would say so.
Yeah, there's all kinds of different things. It's called bug out bag, get home bag, go bag, ready bag. Basically, that's your bag, whether it be at home, in your car, at work. It's something that's got enough to get you where you're going to where the rest of your supplies are. Because obviously you don't want to have all your supplies in one place. It's just like, don't have all your eggs in one basket. If something were to happen to that bag and all of your stuff's in it, well, you're toast.
But what if you have one chicken?
Well, okay, one chicken. All right, smart aleck.
Then all your eggs are in one basket.
Yeah, you're right. It was a metaphor, hamhead. But it's basically a bug out bag, a ready bag, a go bag. It's going to have 72 hours worth of stuff. Food, water, clothes, that kind of deal. My bag, I like Vienna sausages. So I have 3 cans of Vienna sausage, some granola bars, enough calories of stable things to get me for 72 hours. With food in your bag, obviously you don't want to have a stash of Snickers bars if you live in the middle of Texas, because those Snickers bars aren't going to stay very good in your bag for very long. Keep in there stuff that you like, but it's enough that's going to get you through 3 days. Water, I have the hydration bladder in there with a Sawyer water filter in line with it. That way, if I have to fill up from a creek or whatever, the filter will filter out any nasties. Plus, I have a couple water purification tablets in there just in case if I have to fill up a jug or whatever.
You're kind of more of the expert on the bugging out, bugging in, because I think I addressed this in the last episode that I really have kind of been slacking in that general area.
Yeah, well, with actually having stuff ready, I'm slacking quite a bit because I think I'm the only one with a bag. Yeah, and I got 4
you're
kids.
One up though on me because I don't have any bags. I just have what is in my car to get home.
Yeah,
and
that's just
that's I don't know why.
Yeah, you can start slow. I started by carrying a case of water in my car at all times. And I'm like, okay, well now I can throw, a couple bags of beef jerky or something in there with it, and just slowly build it. Yeah, dude, I had Applewood smoked bacon jerky that we snuck into the movies last night. It was pretty good. It's actually bacon that's been dried down into jerky. It could have used to be thicker, but
and a little more apple flavor.
No, it was pretty good for flavor wise. But everybody, the Applewood, and then you got ones that it's like, dude, that's not Applewood, that's just apple. And then you got ones that's kind of woody.
Yeah, that's wood.
Yeah, this one was a pretty good balance. But your bag. So each person should have a bag. One person in your family can't focus on carrying everything for everybody because you're going to overload yourself. I have 4 kids now. My 1-year-old, the youngest, he can't carry his own bag because he just started walking 2.5 weeks ago, something like that. I can't remember how long he's been walking. He still doesn't walk very well, but he can't carry his own bag.
Self-reliance,
right? Yeah. But my 7-year-old, my 5-year-old, even my 3-year-old, they can carry their own little bag. Now they're not going to carry a crap ton of stuff in their bags, but they can carry, their change of clothes,
Their coloring book and crayons.
Yeah, something to keep them occupied. You definitely got to have something to keep the kids occupied. if you have to hit the road for any extended period of time. I mean, even a couple hours can be a royal pain in the butt if you don't have something to occupy the kids. But so like, yeah, I mean, they can carry their coloring book and crayons, a change of clothes, some snacks, that kind of thing. But yeah, each person should have a bag, and then you have a vehicle bag, which is your basic, jumper cables, the stuff for the, the maintenance, emergency stuff for the car, plus some more food, another 72 hours worth of food you can keep in your car.
Road flares.
Yeah, road flares, tire pump, patch kit, or plug kit. I've got a spotlight. I've got ratchet straps. I'm trying to think what else I have. A small emergency shovel. And that, like I said, another case of water. I usually also have a case of Powerade in there because I drink a lot of Powerade while I'm at work. That kind of stuff. Another thing to have in your vehicles, and this is for every vehicle that you own plus one at the house, it's called a bug out binder. It has your important documents. It has your important documents like copies of birth certificates, Social Security cards, bank account information.
Copies of birth certificates are getting freaking expensive.
Oh, dude. I know. Yeah, I have a copy of the birth certificate for me, my wife, my oldest, my 7-year-old, and my 5-year-old. I don't have one for the youngest two because it's like $40 a piece.
My little boy's birth certificate. So when we went to Florida, they didn't give us one from the hospital. Mm-mm. And it was like $35.
Yeah. Granted, I need to get them to have them. Like, I have the actual hard copies in my safe.
Yeah, we have our hard copies in the safe.
But that binder should have them if you have to hit the road and you have it in your car. They'll have, copies of your driver's license, like Social Security cards, birth certificates, bank account information. Now, with some of that more sensitive, like your bank account information, a lot of bank accounts, if you add a 1 to the beginning and put dashes in there, it looks like phone numbers. As long as everybody is on the same page with how to read it, and you can use number off encryption. So instead of putting a 1 at the front, you put like a 3 at the front. So every number, it's +3. So if you use a +3 shift, so say your bank account number is 111. You do a +3 shift, it'd be 2, 3, 4. So it'd be 444 written down, but as long as everybody knows that it's a +3 shift, then you can count back 4, and it gives you the actual account information. I mean, it's definitely not like NSA, alphabet agency proof.
Yeah.
But the average Joe that's going to break in your car and see that, he's like, oh, he's going to try it, and it's going to get him. He's going to get caught because he's not going to know that it's a number off encryption. He's not going to know. And it only lets you try and access an account or something like that so many times before a flag's thrown. So, I mean, but yeah, with that, your rally points, your meeting places, print out a map off of Google Maps with the point on it, with the address, 3 different points, with 3 different routes to get there each. I mean, even if you
9 routes total.
Yeah, a total of 9 routes. I mean, and have 1 in each vehicle. So if you've got driving age kids, you'll have 1 in their cars. You'll have 1 in each, yours or your wife's car. 1 in every vehicle that you own. That way, if something happens and say your, 17-year-old daughter's freaking out because she's out away from everybody else doing her thing, be like, calm down. Turn to page 6. This is where you're going to go. There's the directions to get there. If you get caught somewhere in between there, where you have to redirect, you can, call me and to say, hey, I have to take Route 2. Or, communicate like that. That way everybody's on the same page. You want to keep all the binders identical. So anytime you update one, have to update one sheet, you change it in all of them. The easiest way to do that, get you those clear sheet protectors for like Office Depot or whatever that go in the binder, and you can just slide the sheets in and out.
Ah, yes.
So, I mean, that way you can update them all at the same time. and it just makes everything's uniform, because one little detail that could be different in somebody's, and everybody's going to be thrown off. So yeah, with that you'll have any something else you can put in, any phone contact numbers that you'll need. So go through your phone. I mean, I know everybody's got their address book in their phone, but go through your phone. These are your emergency contacts. So you'll have everybody in your immediate family's number, grandparents' numbers, local hospital emergency room phone numbers, anything that numbers you might need, sheriff's department, any relatives you want on there, any friends you want on there, with the contact list. Something else to add in there is a list of hotels in the area, or a certain radius of where you're at. That way, if you do have to get out, you can go, boom, this is their phone number, hey, and call them. Because not everybody has 2 sets of property with 2 houses or anything like that. You don't have
or family that lives nearby,
right. So I mean, like my wife's friend, she lives in Arkansas. She and all her family lives in Sugar Creek. So she doesn't have family out there. So if she could have all those hotels and have that ready. She's not necessarily going to have a bug out location there because it's just her out there. You'll have your bug out locations, your rally points, your list of hotels, a list of emergency rooms and hospitals and such like that.
The phone number for your local gun store.
Yeah, I mean, any important contacts that you might need to use in any general situation. I mean, you can have. You could even have a convenience store that would be part way. That way, you can call and be like, "Hey, if you've lost contact with somebody that when you're on the convenience store that's on your bug out route, if you say, hey, we'll meet here." Part way through, as a immediate point, and then we can travel on to the next point. But if you've lost contact in between there, if you're supposed to be meeting at this gas station, you can call them if you're running late or whatever. You can't get a hold of the other people in your group. Be like, hey, has there been describe the person that you're with? Has somebody like that been there? That can kind of help with that too. The main key is making sure all of your binders are the same. Each individual family or person's binders are going to be a little bit different because you're going to be at different areas. You're going to have different places you're going to go. But the one thing that carries over everything is to make sure they're all uniform. I've actually got 3 started. 1 for the house, 1 for my car, 1 for the wife's van. Plus, I have all the same information on external hard drives. I had old laptops, and on Amazon for $10 you can buy the case that you just slide the old laptop hard drive in, close it up, and it plugs in USB to USB, plug into your computer, and use it as an external drive. So I had the hard drives laying around, and the old 360s, the internal hard drive. If you take that case off, it's a freaking Toshiba laptop hard drive.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and I had one of those that I took apart. The only difference between a regular laptop hard drive and those hard drives is the security partitions.
Oh, really?
Yep, because it's different file types. They have to have different security protocols built into the hard drive for those file types. But, yeah, and then not only have them on hard drives, I'm kind of weird. If you look here, this program right here, it's called TrueCrypt.
Yes, you were telling me about this.
Yeah, it's an encryption software for the digital parts. It runs on 256-bit AES, 2FISH, and Serpent encryption. I actually put it on all 3 of those. You can do any combination, one of them, 2 of them, all 3 of them. You can do it in any combination you want. But I do all 3, and then I set the passwords, and each it opens it up like a virtual drive, and you can put whatever on there. You can set how big you want it, depending on the size of the hard drive you're putting it on. put all that information in there, unmount it, and it's encrypted. You have to use TrueCrypt to open it up, and you have to put in the password, obviously, to open it. But I've got 2 hard drives, 2 of the little hard drives that I have that go in separate places, like in the house. I'm actually going to be putting one at my in-laws. Like, here, throw this on the bowl shelf and leave it there, because that's where they stash their keys and stuff like that in their house. They call it the bowl shelf. But put one there, have them, if you got a safety deposit box, you can put one there, and just, rotate them out if you have to update information on them or anything like that. But then I've got my main big external hard drive that stays with my computer on the desk at home. And that's got them in there. So that way I have, if for some reason the binder at home gets ruined or whatever, I have the digital copies I can open up and print out.
As long as you have battery backup for everything.
Well, right. But with the point, and having it outside the house too, is it, I can plug that hard drive into my mother-in-law's computer.
Yeah.
And all I have to do is download TrueCrypt to open it up. But
because this week, in our area this week we've had snow and ice on.
My brother-in-law
this past Friday, and there's still people without power, and probably not until tomorrow night or Monday.
Yeah, my brother-in-law, he lives up on Fitzgerald, in Austintown, just off of Raccoon. He lost power with the snowstorm. Was it Friday?
Thursday night
into Friday. He lost power, and they told him it would be back 11 a.m. Friday. No power came back. They called again, and they said, it'll be 11 p.m. tonight. No power. He called again, and it's going to be Monday before they have power.
Yeah.
And it's just his block. Everybody else around him has power.
There's
it's really weird because it's him and part of Alliance are on the same grid, they said.
There's half of East Palestine. It's weird. There's 1% of the grid in East Palestine that has power.
Yeah. And down in southwest Ohio, they don't have. There's been people down there without power. I think my father-in-law said there's 54 or 5,800 households in Mahoney County that don't have power.
Oh, I'd say there's probably more than that.
Yeah, plus another 2,800 in Columbiana County. I know Butler, PA, was without power today.
Oh, interesting.
Or no, yesterday. Because that's where the guy that runs the forums that I do the social media for, that's where he's stationed at, and he posted, he's like, be patient with us. Responses are going to be slow because we're without power and without internet.
Oh, wow.
And when you run a networking company and web design and web hosting company, stuff like that, that's kind of important. But I know his servers aren't on site with his offices or anything.
Yeah.
But there's that ties into with the weather and the power outages. A blackout kit. I know we talked about it last week too. But a blackout kit for the house, a blackout kit to go with you, because that should be part of your bug out bag too. Your flashlights, an extra set of batteries or 2. You don't need a giant flashlight to go in there, even if it's just a little pocket, mechanics light that you can buy for $5, just something little to throw in there. It takes 2 AAA batteries. Have a couple set of
freight lights. Yeah,
the little Harbor Freight lights. Just something, because you're going to need light at times. That's with extra batteries, and you can even put a couple chem lights in there. They're lightweight. The biggest thing with the bug out bag is don't overload yourself, but carry the supplies that you're going to need. A way to, hand warmers can come in handy to help keep you warm if you have to. With your change of clothes, wool socks to help keep warm. As winter rolls around, you change out from your summer clothes that are in there to your winter clothes, which could include a set of thermal underwear or anything like that. Or if like me, we call them long johns. I don't know. That's just something we've always called
Polar Tech fleece.
Yeah, a lightweight fleece jacket or something you can put on. An emergency, those Mylar emergency blankets.
I don't know what the one in my car. It's an emergency blanket, but it's got like almost. It's like it looks like friggin' aluminum foil on the other side.
Yeah, that's Mylar.
But on the front, it's like fleece.
Okay, so that's one of the. Yeah, I mean the ones that I have, they're just Mylar. It's the balloon material, those foily balloons. That's Mylar.
Yeah.
Yeah, that it is super insulated.
Yeah, see, mine has that, and then it's sewn. It's sewn the edges to a fleece panel, and it's actually really nice.
Huh.
It's a great blanket for like throwing out, like if you're gonna go watch fireworks or something.
Yeah.
That's what I've used it for.
Okay. But, I mean, and you can even use an emergency blanket for shelter. Because, I mean, if you have to, you can pop a stick through it. It's relatively easy to puncture. But then, like, out in the wintertime, if you get stuck at the side of the road, and, obviously if your car's broken down and it's not running, you don't have heat there, and there's snow on the ground, you can pop it in there, dig the snow up, pile the snow up around it in there. Because, one, snow's insulation, is a good insulator. And then the Mylar blanket will keep your body heat in, and then cover it with the snow. Just like I keep
and then
a tarp
light something
on
fire inside your car.
Well, I wouldn't know if I'd light something on fire inside my car, but
just like outside the door, maybe.
Yeah, that's hand warmers could work too for that. If you put it inside the emergency blanket, and that would radiate the heat. Obviously, you don't have to hold on to them, and they make the little adhesive toe warmers too. You could stick a few of those to the inside of the blanket to help keep the heat in there. But I mean, it's all dependent on where you're at, what your climate's like, to what kind of emergency stuff you're going to have like that in your bag. But like I said, for me, the Mylar emergency blanket. I do have my med bag that I have with me. I need to start separating out into smaller kits to put in everything too. I do have one in my car. It's in the 6x8 waterproof container things from Walmart. I put all the first aid kit thing in there so it stays waterproof and none of my stuff gets damaged.
Oh, nice.
I
got a couple of those waterproof bags just recently. Like you can throw your phone and stuff, keys and stuff. I just got a couple of those. The other thing I got is one of them fold-up canteens. Like it's like a bag. It almost looks like a hydration bag.
Oh,
and it's a foldable, but it's a canteen basically.
Yeah, I know Nalgene makes one like that. Oh, what do they call it? I forget what they call it. It's like a negative bottle or something. I forget what they call it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's basically like a water bag with a water bottle cap and nozzle piece on it. Yeah, I mean those you could roll that up and stick it, and it would.
Yeah, those are real nice to have.
Yeah, I know ITS Tactical. They sell one with their skull logo on it because they like their Nalgene.
Yes,
they like their Nalgene stuff a lot.
Everybody says I should get a Nalgene bottle. Like everybody I work with, I don't drink that much water at work, which is probably a problem. I drink a lot of soda.
Yeah, I drink a 1 liter, I use a 1 liter Camelback bottle. It's got the bite valve lift and everything. We have like 4 of them in the 1 liter size, and then we have like 4 or 5 of the little like half liter size for the kids.
Yeah.
Because I mean the kids like them. I mean, we like them too because when they don't leak because of the bite valve on them. Can be kind of a little bit of a pain to clean if you put anything other than water in it, but kids like to put milk in it because it won't spill and they go around the house. Yeah, and then the milk gets stuck up in the rubber, the silicone parts of it. You can have. I like silicone stuff. So like. You can have a silicone bowl, those collapsible ones.
Yes.
You can put in there. I mean, they're good up to 350 degrees. I mean, you can bake in silicone.
Yeah.
But I mean, you can't put it on a fire or anything. But that's something you put in your bigger bag. Not just if you can get. I mean, they have what are they at Walmart? The little
the campfire kits.
Or, campfire kits. They're like $10 or something like that. But it's got the cup, the bowl. I mean, the lid. That you could throw in there. If you have food in there that would be better warmed up, or you have to warm it up, like my stuff that I keep in there, I just pop it open and go. Like Vienna sausages, you pop the top, pull one out, throw it in your mouth, and eat it. But I always get funny looks when I eat Vienna sausages. But I like them.
Or you could be like my friends last night, since they don't have any power, cooking SpaghettiOs on their wood burner.
Oh yeah, I've made beef jerky or deer jerky that way. The little vent on the top of my dad's his one house, you put foil over and pop the holes so the air still comes out, and then he did the ground jerky style, and then had the gun that split it out in strips, and just put it right on the foil right on top of the wood burner and let it dry out there.
I don't know how that would taste.
It was smoky.
I'm sure it was,
but it wasn't overly. I mean, you get this smoked standard, pepper jerky or whatever, and it was like that flavor, but a little bit more. I mean, obviously it also depends on the type of wood, but it all comes, like I said, with the food stuff, it's dependent on what you like, and so you want to keep food that you like, stuff that's stable. I mean, if you like MREs like me, you could keep 3 MREs in there. That's 3 days worth of food. I mean, that's definitely 3 days worth of calories. I mean, you're only going to eat it once a day, but you could split it up. I mean, you could even make your own little MREs. You can get, like Mountain House has freeze-dried stuff. That gets a little more into the stuff where you got to take a camp set, with a fire starter and stuff. That way you can cook the food. You guys have got to boil water and add to the freeze-dried stuff to rehydrate it. I mean, even if, like, dried banana chips, I love those, and that's the only way I can eat bananas. Because when they're not dehydrated, I get really bad gallbladder attacks. It's weird. Banana, cantaloupe, honeydew. Watermelon's not so bad, but if I eat too much watermelon...
all the good fruits that you can't have.
I know! It drives me nuts. But, I mean, I can eat a half a banana without any issues. But any more than that, it really starts to get me. But
somewhere there is a perverted joke in there, and I'm going to just leave that alone.
Yeah. And then your battery bank, even if it's just a little one, that you keep charged in there, to charge your phone. If you're on foot or whatever, you got to have communications. Each situation is going to end up being different. Nobody likes to hear it, but it depends. So, I mean, you go ask this guy who lives in Seattle, his bag's going to be completely different from somebody that lives in Florida. I mean, the basics, the staples are going to be the same: clothes, food, water, but what each of those individual specifics of those items are going to be different. And if you got to bug out, like I said, 3 different places to meet with 3 different routes to each. And it can practice. I mean, like, one of my locations is down in another county.
Yeah.
But we go there all the time, throughout, because we're working on the property. But we know, my wife and I both know, I know for a fact we both know 2 different ways to get there. The third way, it's a lot of back roads. I know a lot of them because I grew up down there. But
I'll admit it, you used to rally those back roads.
Oh, yeah, I did. It was fun to slide around the corners and stuff, but especially down there because a lot of them are gravel, so it was nice and easy to slide around. But she doesn't know a lot of those back roads yet. But I mean, it's practice the routes, know the routes, and obviously keep them on paper in your binder so that, because when adrenaline hits and you're freaking out, your memory is going to be like, what? So have it on paper. If you go to MapQuest or Google Maps and print out the directions and put with, the map piece in there. You can put a compass in your bag if you know how to, shoot a bearing, work compass. You do a little bit of land nav stuff.
Maps.
Maps is
definitely. Like if you're in a different area that you're not used to, a different country, and I heard this from a different podcast, but if you're in a different area from that you're not used to, the little cheap hotel maps that they have at all the hotels.
Yeah, the little tourist maps.
The maps that you can get at like a gas station. AAA has those little foldable brochure maps.
Yep.
And then, if you can, pick yourself up an atlas.
Yeah. Definitely. I mean, atlases everybody now with the technology age, everybody's like, oh, I got my phone, I can use the GPS. No. Because if you have to hit the road and your phone dies, what are you going to do without that technology? You're going to be SOL.
You just drive north.
Yeah. Well, how are you going to know which way's north?
Kentucky windage.
Yeah. I mean, maps are good, and a lot of times, a lot of cars anymore even have the little compass in there that give you a general direction, but a compass is definitely a good thing to have if you're out on foot. Like I'm down there, the property's 160 acres, part wooded, part not. I mean, if we're out there, oh crap, I can't see anything but trees around me. Which way do I need to go? I know the house is, north of where I am. I can just move north, walk, and I'll get to it. So we've covered the bag with food, water, extra set of clothes. If you have the space and you can handle the weight, an extra set of shoes. Even if it's just an old pair of boots, you can toss in there. Because, your feet get wet, your shoes get soaked. You put on your dry socks, but then are you going to put those back in your wet shoes? Probably not. I know I've got an old pair of rubber boots that I sit by the door, and if I have to, I just toss them out into the car and take with me. They're not exactly warm, but that's what wool socks are for. But they're an extra set of dry shoes. I mean, make it a game with trying to, if you got to have your family on board with some, all this stuff is definitely family oriented, especially for us. Make sure.
Ow!
Flying food.
Flying
spaghetti monster.
Freaking.
A Christmas nutty bar?
No, it's a party cake.
Oh.
Thing just thrown at me by my wife.
After that left-handed, that was making what I did on.
Wah.
Yeah. But
that's what I deal with.
Yeah.
Spousal abuse.
Hey, thanks. But make it a game with the kids. And like, okay, who's gonna have the best food? The tastiest shelf-stable food. Give them a choice of options that they can put in their bag for their snack. Who's going to have the tastiest snack? Or who's going to have the favorite game that we're going to play? If we have to be out on the road or whatever. I mean, make it fun for the kids, because if they're not having fun with it, they're probably not going to pay attention and want to do it.
Part he comes and smashes his skull. We're watching Braveheart while we're recording this.
But yeah, I mean, you got to make it fun for the kids, make it fun for the family. I mean, it's not all doom and gloom. I mean, you're preparing for the worst, but hoping for the best. But make it interesting for the rest of the family. Make it fun. I mean, tell the kids, hey, go pack a bag with stuff that you might need to go spend the night at grandma's house for 3 weeks or for 3 days. and be like, okay, well, what if you weren't going to grandma's house, you were just going camping? Because my kids love to camp. We've got a giant tent down at the other house because you can't stay in the house right now because of all the work going on, and the mold from being, vacant for 15 years. But we got a big tent and be like, hey, we're planning on going camping for 3 days. Pack your bag and see what they put in it, and help them, teach them, okay, this is what you might need, and kind of go from there. And definitely practice grabbing your bag and going. Be like, okay, impromptu trip out to wherever. Grab your bag and let's go. Make sure go through your bags with them. When you change your bags, bags are gonna need change too. So go through and be like, okay, it's cold out now. Let's repack your bag. What do you need for the cold weather? And I mean, with stuff like that, and you can color code, even if you have, say, because there's 4 seasons, you get a bag per season, and you can color code it so that they can already have the bags, and you go, grab your red bag, let's go, or grab your blue bag, let's go. I mean, for whatever season, and any of your, or you can, you can have in your, we use those plastic shoe boxes that are like 97 cents. They have a lid, and you can have color code those and have different stuff like a black label for the blackout kit, or a red label for like hand warmers, sterno fuel things. Another thing that works really well for fire starting, other side from obviously like gas and matches. If you've used a sterno fuel thing and there's only a little bit left, you save a couple of those. My father-in-law actually did it. Took a Gatorade bottle out of his wood shop and put all the sawdust in it.
Yeah.
Poured the sterno stuff in there, let it sit to where it soak in, and turn it back over, till it's all saturated. And you can just dump a little bit out, and it goes up like that, and it burns for a long time.
Oh, nice. I was gonna say Gyrolint also works for a starter.
I save all our Dryerlint just for that, and our toilet paper tubes. You pack those full of Dryerlint, and then you can wrap some wax paper around it, and those take off pretty good. And the dollar store had 5-minute fire starters or whatever. They're matches, but they're thick.
Yeah,
dude, I was surprised how long those burned. It was longer than 5 minutes.
Oh wow!
I use those. I've got a vacuum pack sealed thing of those because I split them all up and put them in little vacuum packed smaller sizes to put in the bags.
Yeah.
And
and some of this stuff, folks, you can use for going camping. Like it's bug out stuff, but a lot of this stuff people are going to buy for camping purposes and going camping or hiking.
Practice of the stuff that you're going to have if you have to bug out and hoof it. I mean, what's the point of having all this fancy gear in your bag if you don't know how to use it?
Because you're tactical.
Yeah, tactical. I mean, I rotate my stuff because I use it. I mean, when we go camping, there's electricity down at the other property, but only in the garage. The house is disconnected. There's used to be a big propane tank out there. It's not there anymore. So, I mean, if we want to cook food or whatever, we can haul a microwave down there. But
the propane tank's not there anymore?
No. All the piping's there, but the propane
I was going to say, too bad you couldn't unhook the propane tank from the house and then use
Yeah. But
big ass grill.
There was like 2 foot by 2 foot pavers. They're concrete paver things.
Yeah.
And we just took one of those and I built a little fire on it. The main thing is having the supplies that you're going to need for the 72 hours in your bug out, plus an extra 72 hours in your your other bag, your bigger bag. It's stuff that you keep in your vehicles all the time for that.
And there's stuff that you all can do to improvise. Like, I think everybody's probably seen the thing on Facebook where the guy used the shopping cart for the grill.
Yeah.
if it seems stupid and works, it's not stupid.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if it works, it ain't dumb.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to do what you got to do sometimes to just get stuff done. I mean, and with supplies, you can make some of your supplies like fire starter stuff. Like you can make your own fat wood.
Mm-hmm.
With old candles that are burnt down, that they only have a little bit of wax left. You melt the wax, let it, put a bunch of candles together in a pot, melt it all down, and then take your little slivers of wood and put it in there and let it soak, and it'll bubble, and that's the air, the wax taking up the space in the wood from where the air was and pushing the air out. And then you take it out and you let it dry. And there's fat wood. Instead of, if you know how to find fat wood when you're out, cool. I mean, that's definitely a good thing to know. But you can do stuff at home, like the kids, if have arts and crafts, they like to make things a lot of times. Kids like to do things with their hands. They like to learn. You can be like, okay, hey, we're making this today, and then teach them about it, and about how to find it out, out when you're out in the woods or whatever. But you're making it on your own too, and you're teaching them about it at the same time.
Yeah.
That's come springtime. I started this summer a little bit teaching the kids about plantain and dandelion, wild edibles. And in the summertime, I'm going to start a little bit more, getting into that a little bit more, and actually.
Dandelions are terrible, though.
Well, they're pretty.
They're
bitter.
very bitter.
Yeah. We're not talking about the flowers. You don't eat the flowers. I mean, you can if you want, but the greens.
Yeah, they're very bitter, and actually back in the day, used to make dandelion wine.
Yep. That
worst hangover ever from dandelion wine.
Yeah.
My family makes homemade wine, and this bottle was back from like the 1960s.
Oh, jeez.
And me and my cousin cracked it open while we were moving all the wine stuff and figured,
yeah, what the heck?
What the hell? So we slugged this whole bottle, and that was on Sunday, and me and him were both in high school and went the next day to school. Oof. And worst hangover ever.
Oof. I'm going to start making mead, too. Because that's relatively simple to make.
We all need to make a trip to New York. To the one meadery up there that I love.
A meadery in New York? But, yeah, in the spring, I'm going to go out and we're going to, because if you mix plantain and dandelion...
Are you talking plantains like the tiny little...
No. Not the bananas.
Not the little bananas.
It's a plant. Yeah, it's big broad leaves and it's got the little stemmy thing.
Yes, okay.
Yeah. Because, we have a bearded dragon.
Yes.
And they eat greens and bugs and fruit.
They also taste great if you put them over a fire. Kidding. I don't know this for a fact. Never done it.
I can't imagine it'd be too much different than frog. I mean...
Probably not.
But...
they all taste the friggin' same.
Yeah. But, Leah's like, we're out of greens for Georgina. Her lizard's name is Georgina. But I'm like, well, go out in the yard. And I showed her a picture of the plant. And I went out and showed her where the plant was. I said, go pull the leaves off of this. Bring it in. I'll cut them up and we can feed it to Georgina. She can eat that? I'm like, yeah, it's plantain. You can eat it if you want. It goes good in salad. If you grow your own, vegetables and stuff, you can do that. And you can supplement it with wild stuff. And another thing that's really good, especially when it's cold, sassafras tea. Mm-hmm. Yes. I used to make that a lot.
What did you make the other night, honey, for tea? Green tea with honey and ginseng. I like green tea. I'm also trying to find some white tea.
White tea's delicious.
And I would like to get... Jocko had it on his podcast. It's Jocko's white tea. I don't know what is in it, but I hear they have white tea with pomegranate. Which sounds tasty.
I use a lot of black tea, but that's because I make a lot of kombucha.
Yeah, whatever. You were telling me about whatever the hell that is.
Yeah, it's fermented tea. It's basically sweet tea that's fermented. You can.
I had a lavender one a couple months ago.
If you want to make your own, I have a SCOBY. I've separated. And I'm constantly making a gallon batch at a time. So.
Look at his face.
I'll bring it.
I have no idea what you guys are talking about.
Good. It's good for
I have a ginger SCOBY that I made with some ginger tea, and a regular one that's just plain black tea. So, I have a SCOBY of each. So,
My beer's smoking.
I gotta get that trunk out of there and I'll just put everything right down and let it.
Yep, mine's up in the cupboard. Walmart had those gallon mason jar things with a spigot on it on clearance for $1.
Okay.
So we bought like 4 of them, and that's what I use to make a gallon batch of kombucha. And the spigot makes it nice for bottling if you want to make it more carbonated. But
and now we're completely off.
Yeah, that's okay. But I mean, that's stuff you can, if your kids like to make stuff, so you can have them help you make your kombucha or your mead. Granted, they can't drink that. But
in Soviet Russia,
yeah.
In Soviet Russia, you start drinking vodka at birth.
Yeah, I'm the machine. But you've never seen that. I'll have to show that to you. It's freaking hilarious. But you can add that into there. Make camping supplies like fire starters. Teach them how to build a fire during the summer. Granted, most of the time I cheat. I have a little propane torch.
I have my little propane torch, but I also cheat. I use gasoline.
Yeah, I don't use gas.
I like using gasoline. I'm a little bit of a firebug.
I try I'll use the ferro rod and stuff, but
I've lit stuff with ferro rod.
I just get.
Well, see, whatever. I normally get it lit, and then add gasoline to keep it, to flare it out and get it going.
Yeah.
Which hopefully, since I have the wood all covered for this winter, we don't run into that problem.
Yeah. It'll be nice and seasoned and dry. But I mean, my kids, they'd rather be outdoors than in the house any day.
Wintertime, Levi likes to be inside.
Oh yeah. Well, I don't know anybody that likes the cold.
Oh, he likes being outside in the winter, but he'd rather be inside.
Yeah.
Summertime, you have to fight with that little boy to get him inside.
Yeah. I mean, in the wintertime,
especially over at my mom's farm.
Yeah.
It's unreal.
Yeah. In the wintertime, I get cabin fever really bad. But I don't like my fingers. The only part of me that really ever gets cold is my fingertips. And I can't stand it. So I've got gloves, but it's just, I like to go outside and do things. Like, I've got to get on making my wife's Christmas present. But it's kind of hard because she's at home all the time. So I'm going to have to take the material over to my in-laws to do it. I'm building her a little box, like a jewelry box kind of deal.
Oh, nice.
But I mean, my kids like to make things. My Leah's constantly coloring and drawing. I mean, you can get them into learning about the stuff that goes in it, how to do stuff. But it's a matter of, I mean, you definitely got to do it as a family. Because I mean, if you're ready for everything, you got your bug out bag going, everything's all set, and crap hits the fan, everybody's freaking out. Be like, okay, let's go, and you're the only one that's ready. It kind of puts a damper on things. It's a little hard. So I mean, they don't necessarily have to be as gung-ho and in-depth about it, but to be relatively on the same page. That way everything's a little smoother, because when your adrenaline's pumping, you're freaking out, I mean, your brain just goes.
Yeah. And one thing we haven't even talked about yet is carrying, what you're going to carry as a, defense weapon, or if you're going to carry defense weapons with you.
Right.
I think we talked a little bit about it, but
yeah. I mean, that's like with me and my wife. We both have our concealed handgun license, and we both carry every day. So I mean, that's for us. That's second nature.
And if you folks do have your CCW, or you are thinking about getting your CCW, one thing that I have become real adamant on, and I need to get into a lot more, is training with that gun.
Yep.
And go out, buy yourself 3 boxes of friggin' practice ammo, and go out once every month.
Yep.
And if you can, go out weekly, but every month go out and blow through 150 rounds.
Yeah, I mean, practice. Because I mean, if you have the tool but you don't know how to use it, it's pointless.
I mean, you could throw it at them. Well, if you have a high point,
Yeah.
You're gonna throw it at them because.
Yeah, I mean, but. Yeah, I mean, that's second nature for my wife and I. I mean, we have it. We go out and shoot. I mean, we can go to her dad's house, have a little area to do it there. Our other property's got plenty of room, so that's never an issue. I mean, if you don't have your own property to go shoot on, find a range. I mean, and depending on if you feel your kids are comfortable with it, that kind of thing, you can take them shooting too. Like my 7-year-old took her shooting. She loves it. She was ecstatic to shoot the 22.
Yeah.
She keeps asking, when can we go deer hunting? When can we go deer hunting? I said, well, we got to buy you a shotgun first.
Yeah. Actually, speaking of deer hunting, my 13-year-old nephew got his first deer today.
Nice. First day of youth season, too.
Yeah, he got his first deer. 15 minutes.
Wow.
15-minute hunt. That's it. 15 minutes. He got his first little button buck.
Nice.
Yeah, first deer, and I was impressed. I mean, I didn't get to go out with him, but 15 minutes. I seen him tonight over at the family Thanksgiving. I was like, that's pretty impressive there.
Yeah, I mean, in all honesty, I've been out deer hunting a lot. I've never gotten a deer. But
every year when I was younger, I got a deer. And my best year was my last year. I filled both my buck and doe tag before lunch.
Wow. Yeah, see, my thing with that
But we hit the woods at, before sunup.
Yeah. The reason because I didn't really get into proper technique and that kind of stuff with shooting up until I was in my late teens. It was probably 19 when I started actually looking hard into it and realizing that I'm cross dominant. So I shoot right-handed, but I'm left eye dominant.
Ah, yes.
And I never had a scope on my shotgun. And I never really paid attention to having
God, I would like to see you have to do the friggin' tack board with a friggin' AR. That would be entertaining.
Now, my AR's got a red dot, so...
But that would be entertaining still, so you have to do a tack board.
I mean... I've learned to adjust a little bit. It's like my brother took my 22 out when I lived there when I was... Right before I got married, so I was like 20. And I had it sighted to me, because, I'd close my left eye when I'm using the scope, so everything would shift. Mm-hmm. And he's like, let me shoot yours. I'm like, because my dad had a semi-auto, a little bit shorter than mine. And mine's a bolt.
It wasn't one of them nylon 77s, was it?
No.
We have one of those, and I have never... My dad bought it, and I think we've run one mag out of it ever without it jamming.
Oof.
Yeah. And we have 4 different mags. We cannot run a magazine through it without it stovepiping.
Wow.
Like every round. And we're not talking like it fires and then stovepipes. It like fires the one round in the chamber and then the next round stovepipes. Like it comes out and smashes the whole bullet.
Oh my gosh.
It's a junk gun.
Yeah, no, I think my dad's is a Ruger, but it's old.
Oh yeah.
It sits out in the hayloft of the barn now.
Oh God.
Yeah, I mean it's the stock started to crack. I don't know if he dropped it or what, but he's got duct tape wrapped around it. Got a little like 3-power scope on it. He uses it for shooting the coons that get caught in the traps and stuff around the barns. But I told my brother when he's like, "Let me shoot yours." I'm like, "Okay, but you're probably not. You're probably gonna miss." We were shooting pop cans off the fence posts out at the farm, but he's like, "No, I'll be good." Okay. He couldn't hit it. He was getting pissed off. He's like, "Here, you can have your gun back." I'm like, "I told you." He's like, "Why am I missing with this?" I'm like, "Because the scope's sighted for me and my eyes are different than yours. Because it shifts. When I close my left eye, everything shifts low and to the right. So I have to, if I'm shooting iron sights, I have to aim high into the left. So I close and everything shifts down to where it needs to be." But he didn't believe me. But that was my issue. And that's like when because when I'm shooting the pistol, I don't Lucas at T-Rex Arms, he's cross dominant too.
Okay.
And his thing, everybody's drop this arm a little bit to bring the gun over. Now I do like he does and just shift my head a little bit and use my left eye. So I mean it's a little different. I shoot more of a Weaver stance, just simply to help adjust with that when I'm shooting at the range or whatever. I mean obviously on the move it's a little different. Because I do practice. I did a little bit of that. I'm by no means I look retarded doing it, but so I mean with the weapon. I mean, like I said, my wife and I carry. She's got her 380. I've got my 9. That's just kind of second nature. That's always on us. But I mean, if you got to think about that too. I mean, like if you've got a little 10-22 takedown, you can throw in your bug out bag. Boom, there you go. I mean, that's get your squirrels if you have to.
Or like what I'm going to be doing with the AR, the 9mm AR. It accepts Glock mags, so it'll be a takedown. Plus, I'll be carrying the 9mm AR or the 9mm Glock.
Yeah.
So I can swap mags and everything.
You thought about a micro Roni?
Not.
Yeah, it was kind of weird.
I've seen it, but
it's
not
cool,
what I want to do.
Yeah. I guess they make a carbine length barrel for it too.
Yeah, I have seen that.
It looks cool, but the practicality of it's another thing. I mean, you got to think practical. I mean, yeah, you have all this cool tactical gear, but I mean, if you're not used to it, you don't do rucks or anything like that. We're used to carrying a bunch of weight, or stuff like that. I mean, you start throwing this heavy gear on, and you look like a fish out of water. You're huffing and puffing trying to carry your gear, and it's a little rough. You got to think about your limits, your family's limits, and making sure that the biggest thing is everybody's on the same page as a family unit, because you're one unit, not just individuals. I mean, so that's my biggest thing is the family unit for me. Now I know like there's couples out there that's just the two of them, and it's easy for if the husband wants to get all that stuff ready, it's a little bit easier for him to carry stuff for him and her, or get the stuff ready and just be like, here, take this bag and let's go. Yeah. Whereas there's 6 of us in my house.
Yeah, see, I have 3 here.
Yeah. And another thing you gotta think about too is pets. I'm a little screwed in that perspective because we have 3 dogs, 6 ferrets, and a bearded dragon.
And 2 cats.
Yeah, and 2 cats that aren't mine, but we're watching them. So the animal part is a little on the difficult side. Now, my dog, she's a pit mix, and she's got her electronic collar. She stays pretty good, but if we need to. The puppies, we have harnesses with the twin call, the splitter leash piece for them. The wife can take that. And I mean, the ferrets, they're little. We can fit them all in one cat carrier. And the dragon, that's a little bit trickier because you got to keep her warm. Like, her cool side of her tank has to be like upper 70s, lower 80s. So I mean, if she's cold-blooded, yeah, she might get fried. I mean,
this is why I don't have any exotic animals, folks. But I do love animals. Don't think I don't by saying that comment. This is why I don't have crazy exotic animals.
Yeah. Well, that was the 7-year-old's. She wanted that so bad, but
because when I was a kid, I always wanted a Burmese python. As the wife sits here,
he says no.
Over here, shaking her head profusely, like no,
I love snakes,
hell no.
They're not in my house.
I mean, that's.
This thing's too good.
I mean, that's something you got to consider too. Like, we're putting together the first aid kits for the pets too, because I mean, with a lot of the stuff can transfer over, but then there are some things that aren't quite going to transfer over. I'm trying to think what one thing I was looking at the dog first aid kit. Some of the bandages are a little different. You're going to need to carry a razor to get any of the hair, away from a wound that you're going to have to dress or anything like that. But pet first aid, food for them. Water is kind of a universal thing. Like I said, with the purification tablets, you can even carry. I've saved up a few of these. I'm going to fill them up after I clean them out with bleach for water. You just do a few drops because it's a couple drops per, 4 drops a quart or something like that. It's a little 60 mil. It's my vape juice bottle. But I have a bunch of those. And you use for that, for the water. I mean, that way you can get water from a stream or whatever, and then run it through an old sock if you got an extra sock, which you should have extra socks, to filter out any sticks and stuff, and then use the chlorine or the purification tablets on a large amount of water for your pets and stuff. So I mean, because water is heavy, it's 8 pounds a gallon.
Yeah.
So you really don't want to carry a bunch of water, but you want to be able to clean water and have access to water. Because it's the rules of threes. What it is, it's 3 minutes without air, 3 days without water, and 3 weeks without food.
3 minutes without air?
Yeah, you pass out after 3 minutes. I mean, unless you're like a professional swimmer or diver where you've trained your body, you can go longer than 3 minutes. But the average person, after 3 minutes, you pass out. Because your body... I mean, that's your basic rule of 3. But, I mean, that's what I've got. I mean, it's basically down to working as a family unit to have this stuff ready. You can have all the gear in the world, but if nobody's on board and knows what to do with it, or what, it's pointless to have. I mean, and you don't have to build up all your stuff in one big lump. I mean, like I said last week with, your food storage at the house, buy an extra of this. If you eat 2 cans of tomato soup a week, when you go to the store for the week, instead of buying the 2 cans that you need just for that week, buy 3 cans. You have that extra can and just go through and rotate. And each week and buy. You don't have to do it all in one. Which everybody, that was my biggest thing at the beginning was, how am I going to get all this stuff? And I'm like, wait, I can buy a little bit now. Yeah, it takes a little bit longer to have everything ready, but you got to make sure it's within your means, because if you don't have the money to pay your bills and keep the roof over your head in the good times, you sure as hell ain't going to have nothing to do nothing in the bad times. So that's about what I got for this week.
Yeah, I think that's about it. You've done most of the talking on this episode, but
that's because you're the more prepared one than I am.
But
I'm just big into the pew and the knives, and the gear and the training.
But that's been a big thing for my family's self-sustainability.
Yeah.
Recently, I mean, not necessarily recently, but I mean for the last...
I would like to get more self-sustained. Years. I wouldn't say off the grid type.
Yeah,
but I do know that once everything is finalized with this house, I will be purchasing a generator. My dad has one and has put it to probably the most use it's gotten since he installed it this past weekend.
Yeah.
He's never really had to use it for more than a couple hours, and I think they're 2 days straight now.
Wow.
And his is set up, it powers his whole house. Everything in the house and the back garage.
Now, is it hard pipe? Does he have gas, or is it
a
gasoline tank, or?
No, it's, I think, natural gas.
Natural gas. Okay.
I think they have it set up. I'm not 100% sure on how it's all set up, but I know it's a 20-second delay.
Oh, geez.
So the power goes out, 20 seconds, it's on.
Wow.
And when I mean everything, the other night we stopped and they were still on their computer My dad was still on the computer, and the TV was still on, and like nothing was wrong, and everybody else on the block had no power. I was like, holy shit.
Yeah. But
I think it's a 75 kilowatt hour, or it's something huge.
Yeah, that's a nice size one. But yeah, I mean the last 4 years, my wife and I have been working towards not being tied to the corporate world kind of deal. I quit working for the parts store this past April. We're trying to get to, this year I grew jalapenos. It's the only thing that grew because I got started late. And they were tiny ass little jalapenos. They were like that.
Tiny, hot little jalapenos.
Yeah, they were hot.
And some people don't realize, but the drier it is for hot peppers, the hotter they will be.
Yeah. But we're going to start this coming spring down at the other property doing a little bit like a kind of hydroponic, growing bell peppers and stuff. Because that's one of the things my dad has issues growing on his property. The way because he's old school, grows everything in his 1 acre garden.
Yeah.
He can't grow peppers in there for some reason. I don't know. It's something to do with something. The soil's lacking something the peppers need, and he can't figure it out. Which he grows everything.
Trust
else.
me, we had an explosion of peppers up here.
Yeah.
But we have supposedly really good soil up here.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to do like a wicking bed. It's where it's got like lava rock that has water that would run into it because there's already some rainwater catchment down there that's been hooked to the garage for I can't even remember how long. My dad told me, but it's been there for 20 years at least. So that the water will run out of that and into there and wick up through the dirt because that's the way I grew them. I didn't even take the jalapeno out of the plastic planter that I bought it in, and I just stuck it. I had a trash can lid upside down that I kept full of water and set it up with a little bit of an angle so water could get in the holes in the bottom, and just let it. And I made compost tea with some compost I bought from the farm store.
Mm-hmm.
And added, a cup or two of that to the water every week. But yeah, we're going to start growing peppers because my dad, he grows everything else. He sent home with us probably 100 pounds of potatoes out of his garden. It's ridiculous. But yeah, getting back a little off topic, and I think that's where we're going to call it for the week.
You can check us out on Facebook at the Daddy Brigade Podcast.
Yep.
Instagram is Daddy. Is it _ I can never remember.
I can never remember either.
It's Daddy Brigade Podcast.
Yeah, and you just type in and search Daddy Brigade Podcast. We'll come up.
Also, the Bearded Tank.
Yep.
And the Tactical Gnome, both on Instagram.
Yes, we are. And got some other stuff coming around after the first of the year. More details on that later. But
got other episodes planned.
Yep. Definitely got more coming. Stay tuned with us as we move along.
Yeah, we appreciate everybody.
Yep.
And again, shout out to all of our first responders, firefighters, EMS. You guys keep rocking it and staying out there and doing what you guys do.
Yeah, and the electrical guys that are out there working.
Yeah, especially right now, the electrical guys.
Ice and snow and crap going on.
Which most of it's melted right now, so
yeah.
It's making it a little rough. But
yeah, everything's going to be nice and squishy.
But I think that's pretty much it for this week. So
that's what we got.
This is the Tactical Gnome.
The Bearded Tank.
Out.